Every day, children walk or bike to school. By analyzing traffic collision near elementary schools, we can help city policy planners, school boards, prioritize safety improvements where they're needed the most. In this dashboard, you can see elementary schools ranked by decreasing safety score. You can also see important statistics on collisions just to the right. To build this kind of dashboard, we'll head over to ArcGIS Online Map Viewer, where I'll navigate to Ottawa, where thanks to Ottawa's Open Data Hub, I was able to get a copy of elementary school locations as well as traffic collision data. I've symbolized the traffic collisions by maximum injury, and we can see that just right up here to the north, we have unclassified data. To rectify that, I'll head over to ArcGIS for Excel. I can log in directly into my organization and add in a feature layer. I'll navigate to that same area and select my data. While that gets updated, I want to mention a powerful update. Now you can edit line and polygon geometries, not just points, as well as attributes, as you've seen. I'll head back over to my map, where you can see that the data has already been updated. And now let's dive deeper into my analysis. I've created a model builder directly in Map Viewer. I'm using the new Filter by Collisions attribute tool to filter out data that's most important in this scenario, such as cyclist collisions or pedestrian collisions. I don't want to have an output of this data since it's just for calculations, so I'll choose to create intermediate data. Then I calculated a composite index where I calculate the number of pedestrians, number of cyclists, and numbers of injuries and number of fatalities, because these are the things that are most important on that we need to focus. Finally, I've summarized that score into a 1 kilometer walking area around each elementary school. And I'm using the new variables to identify the cutoff of 1 kilometer. One thing I want to mention about ModelBuilder is it's now available for Professional and Professional Plus users, and it really helps to create multi-step analyses directly in the browser, no coding required. You'll notice here that I can disconnect and still query my model. You no longer have to have an active session and consume credits. Let's take a look at the output, the cyclist and pedestrian traffic collision layer that we've created, and I'll navigate back to the sector we were in earlier. Here's a noteworthy example. This is an accident that happened just around 5 p.m., right around when school lets out, involving a vehicle and a cyclist. It happened during daylight, clear roads. Now, this type of layer is interesting for querying specific data. And I've created this layer by adding in an attribute called collision type and using arcade to focus in on the cyclist and pedestrian fatalities and injuries. Then I used the animated symbology on just the fatalities. So it really grabs your attention. So what do I do now that if I want a little bit more of trends, if I want to see trends, something out of just the point data? I can create an H3 hexagonal bin. This is what I've done here. These are new and can be created with the Generate Tessellation tool. We'll head over to my map's history to look at that. I created the Generate Tessellation tool with the H3 hexagonal bins, and then I summarized within them that index score. And using my maths history, I can bring those back in. I now have important information just in the pop-up right here. All these layers are very important to give us a nice understanding of what's happening around each elementary school and focus in on that, on every incident or accident that could potentially be horrific, right, for elementary school students. What if I want to overlay that data now and get to a prioritization? That's where the relationship map comes in. I can use two variables, for example, count of students walking or biking, and the risk score that I created, and pick the relationship style. Then I can focus in on the grid size, pick a sampling method, and then also fix my legends here, my labels. I can bring this all back into my dashboard. And now I'm able to query which areas need the most improvements, crossing guards, safety, calming measures. And I can hand this off to school boards, policy planners, anyone who has children's safety at heart. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mary Jane.